What's up guys and welcome to today's video. I'm bringing you an OG Mike Thurston fat loss video right here. I'm going to tell you how to lose as much body fat as possible in 2 weeks because, as you all know, it's summer and I'm sure you all want to look as good as possible when you go to the beach, when you're chilling around the pool, or you want to look as good as possible when you represent a pair of Naughty Thirst shorts. So, the reason why I've said 2 weeks is because I imagine a lot of you guys have left it last minute and you're like, oh my god, I'm going on holiday in 2 weeks time and I look absolutely terrible. What can I do to turn it around to try and look as good as possible in a 2 week period? So follow these steps and my approach to how you can do this. Okay, nutrition. This is the big one and something you need to pay a lot of attention to. I put some guidelines down here on the whiteboard. It's been a while since I've seen the good old whiteboard. Thank you for participating in today's video. First thing you're gonna do is set your calorie intake for the next 2 weeks and stick to it. Now, my recommendation for most people would be somewhere between 2,000 and 2,500, okay? What you choose is really dependent upon how many calories you've been consuming prior to doing this. If you do know, that's great. If you don't know, then you're just gonna have to take a wild guess. But somebody, for example, who's been consuming 3,000 calories or more on a day-to-day basis, I recommend they go for 2,500. For somebody who's been consuming around 2,500, 2,250 calories, go to 2,000. The reason why I've not recommended anyone going below 2,000 calories is because your life is going to suck. It's just too few calories to fuel your workouts, to recover, and to actually preserve some decent form of muscle mass anyway. It's just too low. I don't recommend any male should go below 2,000 calories for too long. Protein, that's the first thing that you are going to calculate, and that should be around 2.2 grams per kilogram of body weight, roundabout, okay? Fats, I would recommend you go somewhere between 40 and 60, okay? Whether you go high fat, low carb, or high carb, low fat, it's really up to you, but you know, ultimately the biggest determinator, what? The biggest thing that's gonna determine fat loss and weight gain is the calorie intake, so don't worry too much about these two. These are the two big ones. These can vary, okay? As long as you just hit your target. But I would say, because there are 9 calories in 1 gram of fat and there's 4 calories in 1 gram of carbs, I would recommend going for more of the carbs, okay? Because it's just gonna generally provide you with more volume in terms of food, okay? So let's give an example of somebody who is 82 kilograms. They were eating around 2,500 calories per day, so they've chosen to go for 2,000 calories. So based on their weight calculation here, they'll be having around 180 grams of protein per day. And because they want to go high carb, low fat, this is roughly something which they've chosen. Again, they can both vary, but when you add all of these up, that equals 2,000 calories. So all of this, hopefully it makes some sense. The food which you consume is gonna be mostly unprocessed, nutrient-dense foods, okay? This is a big one. Let's get the small board out, shall we? Whoa, what the hell's that doing there? Hello. So, these are all things which I don't want you to do, right? They don't necessarily have a huge factor when it comes to actually losing body fat, but these kind of things are gonna have a big impact on overall inflammation and bloating, okay? So, if you stick to what I tell you to do, your body is generally gonna look tighter and leaner, okay? Because we're gonna reduce so much inflammation over the next 2 weeks. So, obviously, no junk food, right? Not only is this gonna help with inflammation, but it's also gonna cause you to have more energy and it's gonna reduce cravings for sugary, crappy foods, okay? So that is off the table. I would recommend cutting out bread. Some people can actually tolerate it and digest it pretty well, but other people, they don't, they just go. I notice when I have a lot of bread, I do get a little bit bloaty. Refined carbs comes with the same thing as well. I would recommend staying away from supplements. Now, you don't have to do this, but again, I would probably just recommend doing this little experiment for 2 weeks, cutting out protein bars, cutting out protein powder, everything that just comes in tubs and is full of crap, okay? I guarantee that most likely your skin is going to look better, you're gonna have less bloating, and you're just gonna feel overall just a lot better. There's gonna be a little detox for your body. Some people aren't gonna notice the difference, but some people might actually see a big improvement in the skin and less bloating, okay? Particularly those people who are intolerant to dairy, which brings me on to my next one, dairy. Let's just cut out the dairy, shall we, for 2 weeks. Again, some people can tolerate it, some people can't really tolerate it. I think a lot of people don't realize that dairy doesn't really do them any good. So no cheese, no milk, no butter, no whey protein. There's another one as well, I missed cheese, all that. Let's cut it out, shall we? And I would also recommend no eating out. most of the food which you eat, I would say over 90% of it should be prepared at home, because then you know exactly for sure that you have hit your daily calorie intake target, okay? If you eat out, you just don't have a clue. You have no idea what calories and the macros are in the foods that you eat. Unless, I mean, maybe they'll say it on the menu, but most places don't actually have the macro breakdown on the menu, and most of them are highly unreliable, okay? So just make all of your food at home, okay? Do some meal prep. And the last one, no alcohol, okay? It's fairly obvious. Alcohol causes a lot of inflammation, but it's also a complete waste of calories, empty calories with no nutrition, and it's going to have a negative impact on fat loss, your sleep, everything, okay? So for 2 weeks, you're not going to have one single sip of alcohol, and I would just recommend the majority of the fluids which you consume are water, okay? So, the gym. When you're at the gym, what should you do? Should you do anything different to what you were doing previously? I don't know, because I have no idea what you were doing, but my recommendation would be to keep the focus in the gym sessions with building, or at least maintaining muscle. But realistically, you're not gonna be building muscle. You wanna try and maintain it. So there's no need to go and do like crazy high reps, okay? And think, oh, higher the reps, I'm gonna develop more lean muscle tissue. That's a load of shit, right? You don't wanna come to the gym and focus on burning as many calories as possible, to be honest, because you're doing that when you're doing the cardio and you're walking about. The sessions should be geared towards trying to maintain the muscle that you have. So, I'd recommend going in there with a plan. If you don't have a plan, then you're just setting yourself up for failure. Just so happens I have a lot of good plans which you should follow on the thermostat, and I would recommend sticking to the ones that really do focus on more the compound lifts, okay? So the full body splits, the push-pull leg split, the anterior, the posterior, the chest and back, and the push-pull legs upper lower, right? Realistically, you should be able to go to the gym 5 times per week. If you can't, make time. Either go to bed earlier and wake up earlier, or just create time somehow. Come on, it's only 2 weeks, you can do it. I would recommend in these sessions, don't go to the gym training fasted, because you're just gonna perform pretty horrendously, especially on the low calories which you are currently on. And I would also recommend saving the most demanding sessions, if there is one that stands out, do them after the rest day. My approach would be to do 3 or 4 days of consecutive training followed by a rest day. And on the rest day, I wouldn't just sit on your ass all day and do nothing. I would definitely try to keep as active as possible. Like I said before, go for a walk. If you need to, go and do some additional cardio on the treadmill. And there's no harm in doing a bit of core work as well. When it comes to training core, you know, training your core every single day isn't really going to drastically improve the situation, particularly if you have quite a lot of body fat around your abdominal region to begin with. But 1 to 2 core sessions per week, maybe at the end of your session or on your rest day, could definitely do some help to bring out some abdominal definition. If you want to do some additional cardio, which will no doubt help with creating a deficit, I would recommend just doing something low intensity, okay? So making sure that your heart rate isn't going to be too high, making sure that you're not going to cause your body too much strain, because realistically the most strenuous sessions are going to be when you're lifting weights. We don't want to do too much, because otherwise your recovery is going to be terrible, and the performance in the gym when you are trying to lift weights is not going to be very good, okay? So incline, put it anywhere between 9, 10, 11. Speed, it depends, but you pick a speed so that your heart rate is around 120 to 130 beats per minute, and then it's up to you. If you want to do 30 minutes, that's good. If you want to do 40 minutes, hey, that's even better. But that should really be enough. You don't want to be going too crazy with the cardio or doing 2 cardio sessions per day, because if you create an absolutely outrageous deficit, then you really are going to increase the rate at which you lose muscle mass. And you don't really want to be a skinnier, smaller version of yourself. So we've got to be careful with what we're doing here. Now, when it comes to cardio, you don't necessarily need to do this, because I'm sure by bringing your calories down and just being consistent with doing some regular resistance training, you will have created a deficit either way. But if you wanted to create a further deficit, one of the best ways to do that is just to move your body. My best advice would be just to walk. Just walk as much as possible. If you can go from 5,000 steps a day to 10,000 steps a day, or even 15,000 steps a day, then you're going to be burning more calories on a day-to-day basis. So once you've taken care of the gym, the cardio, and your diet, there's not really much else you can do. Although I would recommend trying to get as much sleep as possible. You're going to notice your rate of fat loss is going to be much faster if you actually get a decent 7 to 8 hours of sleep per night. And of course, stay hydrated. It depends on how much you weigh or what the climate is that you're currently living in, but at least 3 to 4 liters of water per day, maybe more, depending on how much you're sweating. And then that's it. Hopefully you'll see some pretty decent results. Obviously, there's not going to be any miracles happening, particularly if you are starting this with quite a high body fat percentage. There's just no way you can get rid of a lot of body fat in a 2-week period, but you can certainly make some progress. Ideally, if you want to see the best results, you do a cut over a longer period of time. Okay, it's more sustainable, it's more enjoyable, and you'll actually be able to retain more muscle mass and strength in the process. So doing something like this is quite drastic, but you know, it's your own fault for leaving it last minute. So hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know how it goes for you, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel and give it a thumbs up. See you in the next one.